Hello, my dear students. You all are welcome to my geography class, and I am going to discuss with you all today a very important topic, that is the forest and wildlife conservation in India. Okay, from chapter number 5, Natural Vegetation. So, here we will be discussing the various steps taken by the government of our country for the conservation of forest and wildlife. Okay, but before we discuss about the steps taken by the government for forest and wildlife conservation, first of all, we need to know that what are the reasons responsible for the decline of this forest and wildlife resources. Okay, because if we don't know the cause, then we cannot bring out the remedy, isn't it? So first of all, it is very much important to know the causes of forest and wildlife depletion, so that we can understand in a more better way, okay, about the conservation techniques. See, the wildlife of India is a great natural heritage. It is estimated that about 4 to 5% of all known plant and animal species on the earth are found in India. Okay, so our country India has different types of forest cover, and in these different types of forest cover, okay, we find different species of plants and animal species. Okay, plants and animal species. It is estimated that around 4 to 5%, okay, about 4 to 5% of the total species on the earth can be found in India. Okay, the main reason of this the main reason of this remarkable diversity of life forms is the great diversity of the ecosystem which this country has preserved and supported through the ages. Okay, so basically the main reason responsible for having a huge diversity of flora and fauna in our country is our country has preserved and supported this flora and fauna through ages. Okay, over the years, their habitat has been disturbed by human activities, and as a result, their numbers has dwindled significantly. But because of various human activities, okay, because of various developmental activities and all, the number of the species has dwindled significantly, has reduced significantly actually. Okay, and there are some species, okay, there are some species of flora and fauna, that is the plants and the animals, which are in the brink of extinction, means which will get extincted if we don't conserve them actually. Okay, so forest and wildlife resources are very much important for our country. Okay, and we need to conserve it actually. Okay, see, some of the reasons responsible for the decline of wildlife in our country are as follows. Okay, some of the main factors or the reasons, okay, responsible for the decline of wildlife resources in our country are: number one, the industrial and the technological advancement. Okay, the industrial and the technological advancement brought about a rapid increase in the exploitation of the forest resources. Okay, so because of industrialization and various technological development, okay, the forest resources has been depleted. Okay, the forest resources has been exploited to a large extent, and this is the reason that with the decrease in the forest cover, okay, there is a loss of habitat of the wild animals. Okay, and many of the wild animals, okay, they are endangered, some of them are extincted actually. Okay, more and more lands were cleared for agriculture, human settlement, roads, mining, reservoirs, etc. Okay, more and more land, that is the forested lands, were cleared for agriculture practice. Okay, like subsistence agriculture, for human settlement, for construction of roads, for mining activities, and for construction of reservoirs and all. So these are also responsible for the decline of wildlife, because when the forest cover will reduce, the animals will find it difficult, okay, because their habitat or their home, okay, will get changed. Okay, the area under forest will go on reducing, and they will find it difficult to live in the forest. Okay, and ultimately, okay, they may get extincted, okay, or they will come under the category of endangered species. Okay, even pressure on the forest mounted due to lopping for fodder and fuel wood and removal of small timber by the local people. And another reason responsible for the decline of forest and wildlife is there is an increase of there's an increase in the pressure, okay, on the forest resources, because many of the people, basically the people living in and around the forest areas, okay, they depend on the forest for the fodder, for the fuel wood and all, and they cut down the small trees, okay, they cut down the small trees and all, okay, which and these small trees, if when they cut it down actually, okay, they cannot grow, okay, so the number of new spaces, new trees goes on reducing actually, okay, and there is no chance for the forest to increase, okay. Grazing by domestic cattle caused an adverse effect on the wildlife and its habitat. Another important cause is grazing by the domestic cattle, okay, by the domestic animals and all, is also responsible, okay, is also responsible for the loss of habitat for the wild animals, because when the domestic animals, okay, they graze on the forested lands, okay, the grasses, the small plants and all, they eat away, so the chances of the forest growing reduces actually, okay. And the another most important factor responsible for the decline of wildlife, basically the wild animals in our country, is hunting. Okay. Hunting was taken up as sport by the elite and the hundreds of wild animals were killed in a single hunt. Now commercial poaching is rampant. Okay. So basically, okay, in the earlier times during the colonial period and during the rules of different kings and all, okay, hunting was a sport, hunting was considered as a sport, and when the kings or the you can say the britishers, they used to go for hunt, okay, they used to kill several animals in one hunt, okay, and this is the reason that many animals, okay, the number of many animals has gone down, and now we see that commercial poaching is another major problem actually, okay. The wild animals are being killed, okay, by the poachers for their skin, for their tucks, etc, okay, and this is the reason that in many of the forested areas of our country, the number of many endangered species are decreasing, okay. For example, in the Kaziranga National Park, poaching of the one-horned rhinoceros, okay, has reduced the number of rhinoceros in this Kaziranga National Park, okay. Apart from this, not only the rhinoceros but also the elephants and the many animals are being killed by the poachers, okay, for various like items which they get from these animals actually, like the skin, okay, the tucks, okay, and all the horns of the deers and all, okay. So these are the different causes, these are the different factors, okay, responsible for the decline of wildlife in our country actually. So, in order to conserve or in order to provide protection to the wildlife resources of our country, the government of India has implemented the Wildlife Protection Act. Okay, the Wildlife Protection Act was implemented in the year 1972. Okay, and the main objective of this Wildlife Protection Act was to provide, okay, protection to the wild species, okay, which provides the main legal framework for conservation and protection of wildlife in India. Okay, so this Wildlife Protection Act, it provides a framework, legal framework, okay, for conservation and the protection of wildlife in India. The two main objectives of the act are, okay, the two main objectives of this Wildlife Protection Act are to provide protection to the endangered species listed in the schedule of the act and to provide legal support, okay, to the conservation areas of the country classified as national parks, sanctuaries and the closed areas, okay. So basically these are the two main objectives of the Wildlife Protection Act implemented in 1972, okay. Number one, to provide protection to the endangered species which are listed by the government of India, okay. Number two, to provide legal support to those areas which are considered as the national parks, sanctuaries, wildlife sanctuaries, okay, etc. This Wildlife Protection Act, which was implemented in 1972, was first amended in the year 1991. Okay, I mean some changes were brought in this act in the year 1991. Okay, and what changes? The amendment which was made in 1991, okay, it made punishment, okay, making punishment more stringent, and has also made provision for the protection of the specified plant species and conservation of endangered species of wild animals, okay. So the amendment which was made in the year 1991, okay, as per the amendment, more strict punishment were you can say more strict punishment were like it was written, okay, in the act, like if the people they violate the law rules, they will be given more strict punishment and all, even imprisonment can be given to them, okay. And for the first time in the year 1991, okay, not only the animals but many plant species were also brought under the list of endangered categories, okay, which needs to be conserved. Apart from this, the government of India also set up, okay, they have also established 103 national parks, 503 wildlife sanctuaries in the country for giving protection to the wild species of plant and animals, okay. The wildlife conservation has a very large ambit with unbounded potential for the well-being of humankind. So this wildlife conservation, okay, it's not a smaller concept or term actually. It has a very large ambit, okay, and which has a potential, okay. Conservation of wildlife resources has a potential, okay, which will help in the well-being of the humankind actually, okay. However, this can be achieved only when every individual understands its significance and contributes his bit. And this can be achieved, okay, like we can help the government in conserving the wildlife resources, okay, only after we become aware about the importance of this species, okay. So it is very much essential that the individual people they understand about the significance, okay, about the importance of the wild species of plants and animals, and they contribute from their side, okay. For the purpose of effective conservation of flora and fauna, special steps has been initiated by the government of India in collaboration of UNESCO's Man and Biosphere program. So the government of India, okay, in collaboration with UNESCO has okay, came forward for giving protection to different species of flora and fauna, okay, through the Man and the Biosphere program actually, okay. So these are the different steps, okay, these are the different strategies adopted by the government of India for the protection of flora and fauna, okay. Even some special projects were launched by the government of India to protect some specific varieties of animals. For example, the Project Tiger. Okay, the Project Tiger was introduced in the year 1973 and the Project Elephant was introduced in the year 1992. Okay, these two projects were introduced to provide, okay, to provide protection to the tiger and the animal species of our country actually, okay. The Project Tiger, which was implemented since 1973, okay, and the main objective of this Project Tiger is to ensure the maintenance of viable population of tigers in India for scientific, aesthetic, culture and ecological values, and to preserve areas of biological importance as natural heritage for the benefit, education and enjoyment of the people, okay. So the main objective of this Project Tiger, okay, launched in 1973 was to ensure that the number, okay, that the population of tiger in our country, okay, increases, okay, and their population can be increased, okay, which will help, okay, which will help the country for in preserving its culture, okay, and ecological values, okay. And also this will also help in preserving the natural heritage of our country, which will be beneficial for the education, okay, as well as enjoyment of the people. Initially, the Project Tiger was launched in 9 tiger reserves. Okay, 9 tiger reserves means were set up. Okay, means those areas were mainly considered important for tigers. Okay, because some species of tigers, some number of tigers were reported from those areas. Okay, and like special protection was given to those areas so that the tigers can live properly, okay, without any disturbance, and their population can increase, okay. So initially the Project Tiger was launched in 9 tiger reserves covering an area of 16,339 square kilometer, and which has now increased to 44 tiger reserves encompassing 36,998.28 square kilometer, okay, distributed in 17 states, okay. And one such tiger reserve is located in West Bengal, that is in Sundarban area, okay, that is the Boxer Tiger Reserve. I think you all have heard the name Boxer Tiger Reserve, okay, and the Sundarban Biosphere Reserve. These are part of this tiger reserve actually. And after the Project Tiger was implemented in the year 1973, the population of tiger has increased rapidly from 1411 in 2006 to 1706 in 2010, and even the number is increasing, okay. Another important project which was launched during the year 1992 was the Project Elephant. Okay, the main objective of this Project Elephant was to assist states having free-ranging population of wild elephants. Okay, it was aimed at ensuring long-term survival of the identified viable population of elephants in their natural habitat, and the project is being implemented in 17 states. Okay, so the main objective of Project Elephant was to ensure that this animal species, okay, this elephant species, they can be protected in their natural habitat so that their population can increase and they can survive in a better way actually. Okay. Apart from this, some other projects such as crocodile breeding project, Project Hangul and conservation of Himalayan marks deer have also been launched by the government of India, okay, for giving protection to the crocodiles, the musk deer and the hanguls. Okay. So, the government of India along with UNESCO has came out with various strategies for giving protection to the wild species, okay, to the wild species of flora and fauna. Okay, so these are the different strategies which can be followed for conserving the forest and wildlife resources of our country. Okay, so I think now you all are clear about the different reasons responsible for the depletion of the flora and fauna, as well as the methods which can be adopted, okay, which can be adopted to conserve the wild species, okay, wild animals and all. So thank you my dear students.